first up, what is a shuffle? The simple explanation of it is that it's basically a swung rhythm. So you think like da 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 instead of straight eighths or quavers. All right. So what I mean by that is that the 1, 2, 3, 4. If you think of the and in the middle of there, the and is closer to the next beat. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 instead of being right in the middle. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right? I'll show you what I mean. So we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, that's straight, right? But if we push the and close to the next, right? You can hear that it suddenly is way cooler, basically, all right? Okay, so that's a shuffle. Let's have a go at that, playing that together. I'm just playing basically open and my index finger here on the fourth string. It's an A. Generally, I tend to play an A major like that with one finger because it allows you to do other stuff with your other fingers, right? So let's have a go at that. I'm going to count us in and we're going to have a go. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Try and tap your foot at the same time. If it makes you sort of sway to side, you're doing it right. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So hopefully you got the idea of that. Now, how does the form work is the next thing to really understand before we can get into kind of going, well, which chords and what do we play? There are 12 bars, surprisingly, in a 12-bar blues. And if you think of it on 3 lines, right? If you think about it on 3 lines, on the first line, I'm going to show you a little chart here. Hopefully you can see that. On the first line, you basically have 4 bars of A. We're going to play an A today because it's pretty easy because it means that all the chords are right here. All right? We might do one in E as well a bit later. We'll explain how you manage to switch keys between each of those. So you have 4 bars of A, right? First line, 1 chord. Second line, you can see there's 2 chords. Third line, you can see there's 3 chords, right? So A, 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 A. So what we're going to need to do, we're going to play A, and then we're going to play D. We're going to play D like, instead of like this, we're going to do, instead of regular D, I know my picture is only small there, but put it there. Okay, and then E, we can do the same thing. That's usually E, but we're just going to do this 2-string thing, all right? Make it as easy as we can, right? And we're going to try and shuffle it up. So effectively we get, for the A, we get this. Hey Ryan, thanks for leaving a note. All right, and that's the E. Okay, so what we're going to do together, I'm going to count us in, grab your guitar. All right, I want it to be interactive. If you have any problems or questions throughout the lesson, just let me know. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Second bar. 3, tap your foot. 3, 4. Then we're going to go to D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to A. Then we're going to hit E. 2, 3, 4, E, D, A, E. Now, what's interesting is that whilst you might not have done this before, you can feel where you need to be, right? Like you can feel where it's right and wrong and all that sort of stuff. So even though you've not done it really before, even if you haven't, you know, you can still hear the you know, if you stayed there too long, it's like it feels too long. The real trick of it is that if you can get on top of the form and you know what chord you're meant to be playing all the time, you can really play anything in those boxes, and that's what we're coming to now. All right, so there's the basic structure. The chords there were A, D, and E. And why are they A, D, and E? That's a good question, eh? Well, if you're in the key of A, each of those chords in key has a number, all right? So A is 1. In the key of A, the second note of A is B, then C sharp, then D, that's the 4, and then E is the 5. So it's helpful that you have 5 digits because you can go A, B, C, D, E. So those are the chords you need for a blues in A. Let's imagine we did E, E, F sharp, G sharp, A and B. So you'd need to play 4 bars of E, 2 bars of A, another 2 bars of E, B, A, E, B. Excuse me. All right, so you get the idea. And you can do that for every single key. It's pretty easy to work out. So let's just do it for G. Okay, G major. So we need G first. What would be the 4 chord? Well, let's walk through the alphabet, right? G, C. Okay, so G, A, B, C is the 4. Then you go back to G, then you go to D, then you go to C, and then you come back to G, D, right? So that's pretty easy. Okay, so that's how the form works, and that's all the theory we're really going to talk about today. We're going to talk about these shuffle patterns now. Now, what you can get is this sort of classic sort of thing that you heard on about 1 million different records, right? This sort of classic boogie sort of shuffle pattern, right? Where we're going. Now what's happening there is this, that's A5, and then you're going to A6, right? So let's have a go at playing 2 each, right? So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Let's have a go at that, right? 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. We're going to keep it going. We're going to hit D soon. 1. We're going to do exactly the same thing on D. 4, 1. This is the 4th bar, 5th bar. Okay. Right, and then we're going to be going back to A. Keep it up. 4, A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, E, and this is the 9th bar, 10th bar, D, then back to A, E, then we'll start at A, right? So that is a probably the simplest boogie sort of shuffle pattern that you start out with. It's an excellent way of getting going. Okay, so that is our basic pattern. Now, as I said before, as long as you follow that form, 4 bars of A, 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A, D, A, E, that's gonna feel right. Okay. Now I'm not saying that this form is like you must play this form every single time. There are slight variations on this form, but this is sort of a standard thing, right? You can hear that it feels right. You know what I mean? So, what we could do, so I said this was A5, right? So it follows that this is A6. That's A7. All right. So a pattern you could play is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then you fill up the boxes in the same fashion, right? 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, back to D. E, D, A. Hey, it's very early. Okay, all right, so now there are multiple patterns that we can use. We've gone basically in the chord there, right? Make sense? But we could go play one and then change. It's still A, right? So you don't have to keep the same pattern for every bar. You can change it up. Then D. Right. So we're still solidly in the chord playing A5, A6, A7, E, 7, D, then back to A. Okay. We've spoken about the form today, basically what a shuffle is. So a shuffle is where the and is closer to the next beat than in the middle. So straight, 1 and 2 and 3. If you think of living on a prairie Bob Bon Jovi, it's like 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Super, super straight, right? Where if you think like of something like Don't Stop by Fleetwood Mac. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. It's swung, right? So swing means that you've got the and closer to the 2. Okay, so like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? Then we've spoken about the form you need. You need 12 bars. It's called 12-bar blues. The first line is going to be, for example, in the key of A. Then 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A. On the second line, 2 chords. On the third line, 3 chords. So E, D, A, E. All right. If you wanted to play it in different keys, you think about the numbers in those bars. So you play 4 bars of the 1 chord, which in the key of A is A, B, C, C sharp, D, right? D is the 4 chord, and E is the 5 chord. And you can do this in every single key. It doesn't matter, right? If you're playing in, let's say, F, G, A, B flat, that would be, and C. So it doesn't really matter. You see how it works. Then we spoke about different patterns you can use. We were playing in A to make it easy for ourselves today. Right? You can see that you can use the A there, then D, A, D. Right, let's move it up a bit, okay? So, hopefully you've got the idea of what we're doing there. Now the trick really is just to make that shuffle continue all the time, right? There's some brilliant videos you can check out of John Lee Hooker doing his thing in the mid-60s, and he's just on a stage, he's got his guitar, and he's just going in parts of his tunes, right? He's doing this. So even though I didn't really play that much there, you can still feel like the is happening, okay? And so don't feel like I've played the wrong thing when you're trying to get hold of this. A, E, D, A. Right, E at the end there, right? So you can feel that it just is really the absolute trick of it, okay? All right, what else did I have in my little plan to put together? Tips to make it sound really cool, all right? So that palm mute is just literally the best thing ever, right? If you play like it's solidly okay, You know what I mean? Whereas right now, so how that works, the sort of fleshy bit of your strumming hand, right? It's going to go right on top of the saddles. The saddles are the bit that basically go from where you can't hear the string to where you can hear the string. The saddle is this bit here, on top of the bridge there. And you can see that you don't need to be on the string that much. We're talking like 1 millimeter, tiny, tiny amount, whatever of an inch that is. Right? So you can make out the sound of the chord, but it's still muted, right? If you're too far, it'll just make that sound, right? So you can see that quite a long way different, right? Literally just slightly touching the strings, you know? That kind of vibe. All right, so that is the first trick. So let's have a go at that. If you weren't doing that before, I count us in, grab your guitar, all that sort of stuff. 1, we're going to play A, right? And it doesn't really matter what you do, right? You could play just A. If the moving of the pattern is just a bit tricky at the moment, you can put Okay, so far in terms of our sort of shuffle thing, we've only really moved. Okay, now we can also go underneath the chord, if you know what I mean. Like I say, there's the chord. Hey Stephen, how are you? Thanks for watching, really appreciate that. So, what's this? Is a C to C sharp. So you've got A. Now, in the key of A, like I mentioned before, C sharp is the third, major third, right? So if you play minor third, pretty funky sound. But if we're playing an A5, you're going to go minor, major. See what I mean? This is one of my favorite ones, right? Do it all the time, right? Because all the strings are kind of the same, right? In A. So I'm playing C, C sharp, or 3 to 4 on the A string underneath. So you've got A. Right? So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, and you can go down, up. You can go down. There's no rules, really. The only rule is that it's 4 bars of A, 2 bars of D, 2 bars of A, E, D, A, E, right? That's the rules. Now, if you wanted to play a pattern of this, and then a pattern of that, you can do that as long as you're in the right chord. I know I keep saying this, but this is the absolute trick. Because if I imagine I've got 4 bars of A and I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You don't need anything in that last bar of A that I played. D, A, E. Right? So that's underneath the chord. But of course you can go even further underneath. So we have it like A, A6, A7, third, minor third, major third. But we could also play, there's a G there. So we've got A, okay? See all these little elements you can add, and you just get better and better and better, and you're going to be able to add more and more of these things. So and the muting. Okay, so we've had A5, A6, A7, any combination of those. Third, minor third, major third. Underneath the chord, the G. Now that's going to work D. Unfortunately, we run out of strings with E, so we can't get a D down here, bending up to E, but you get the idea, all right? So, in the chord, underneath the chord, really underneath the chord. What's something else we could do? We could play the chord, right? Now, there are loads of chords up and down the guitar. I guess you know that already. So, A. This is an A7. A6. Right? So, shuffle, chord. Right, so let's just try that. I know we're starting to get a bit more now, but let's just try it together, see what happens. Is the trying together thing working? I don't know. Obviously, I can't see you playing, so hopefully you are. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do like shuffle for a bar, chord for a bar. Okay? You put it in any way you like. Will sound right because we will be playing together. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. D. 1 bar of D7. You know that one? A. A7. E. Only shuffle here, we haven't got time for the chord. D. A. Let's play an E7. Right. So now what we've done is we've combined the muting, the shuffle pattern, a chord. You can start to see that this sort of stuff, once you get the hang of it, you can play a lot of it without a backing track. You don't really need a backing track. The backing track is in your head going, I'm in the chord of A, I'm in the chord of D, I'm in the chord of A, I'm in the chord of E, right? And I know I keep banging on about this form, but if you've got the form in your head, you just follow the form and you can go round and round and round. I remember watching a documentary years and years ago. I can't remember, it was one of those things in the 80s of like classic rock guitarists. And there was a bit interviewing Keith Richards, and he was like, the reason I started playing blues music is that the form is actually relatively simple. So once you're on top of the form, and you can play like this, and he literally sort of kind of was sitting in a studio, I don't know, it was like the late 80s, and he just was like, just like that. Keith Richards. It's cool. It's quite inspiring. And, you know, like, and he just, you know, you put some words over the top, you know, my woman gone left me, and la la la, and off you go. And so if you've got the form, that is the trick of the shuffle. All right. These open chords, they're cool. We can put different kind of chords in, right? So this is like an A-shaped chord, right? Make sense? If we put it up here, then suddenly it's D7. E7 at the 9th fret. So you could have third bar, So, those 7s, right? You could have this 7. This is D7. Here's D7, D sharp, E, A. Right? See? That's an A. Like an E-shaped chord there. But, right? D. Right. So you can see that it's a really, whilst it's funny, isn't it? Because the form is so prescriptive, as in like it tells you what you have to do. Yet it's almost like, because it's so prescriptive, it gives you lots of options to move around within that sort of like a safety net almost, right? And because your listener knows what's coming next, you don't even really need a thing. Like you can, where you're going, forgot what key was in, still early, D, A. Right? Just in that first position, I wasn't trying to do anything too clever. A minor pentatonic, we're in A, right? A. A. D. A, right? A really cool thing that you hear quite often is moving through the notes that you have between the chords. And you might have heard me do this already. So like in the 4th bar, it's A, we're going to go to D. So in the 4th bar, we should have something that pulls us into the D. All right, so let's try this together. We're going to go A, B, B, C, C sharp, or 0, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to play 2 of each on the thing. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is what it's going to sound like, right? So we're going to play 3 bars of our normal A shuffle pattern. Then we're going to play the walk. That's the A, B, C, C sharp. And then we're going to go to D. And we're going to see how we feel, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second bar. 3rd bar. Here we go. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. D. Woohoo! Cool, hey? Back to A. Right? Makes sense. Now, you can do that there. You can also do it in the 8th bar, which is the D bar going to, the A bar going to E. So you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, but the notes this time are A, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. To the top of the 12 bar. Right? Okay. So let's try that one. We're going to play 1 bar of A, we're going to do the walk up to E, and then we're going to see how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Right. Now, when you put these elements together, 1. D7, A9. Okay, so the other thing that follows is that with chords, you don't really need that. You could play all minor chords. As long as you follow the form. This is A minor 7, D minor 7, A minor, E minor, D minor, A minor. D minor, A minor. You could use nines. So put your first finger here on the 4th fret, same fret, those two, on the 5th and 3rd strings. This is basically an A9, but there's no root, right? It's just there. But you don't really need it, right? Right? Then I've got a D9 here, so I just swapped from, what do I do here? So my 2nd finger goes onto D, my 3rd finger drops down onto the G string, and that's a D9, so I have 5, 4, 5, 5. Let's just try that, going from 4, 5, 4, 5, switch to D, 5, 4, 5, 5, back to A9. Now, this brings us to sort of a variant, I guess, of the 12-bar form that we've been talking about the whole time, right? So you could play 1A. Yes, often a slow blues, it'll switch around to D in the 2nd bar, because 4 bars of A at like 60 beats a minute is like, oh my God, it's so slow. Semitones are great in this sort of vibe. Like Stormy Monday, like T-Bone Walker. Back to A9. You know where we are? We're about to go into bar 9. E9. 7th fret, 7, 6, 7, 7. D. Still staying in that pattern, right? A. Now, sometimes when it's really slow in the final 2 bars, they do like a little turnaround. So like, yeah, so I went A, D, A, E, because you've got heaps of time because it's so slow, right? And that's a whole nother video doing a whole bunch of turnarounds, but there's loads of those sorts of things. That's one in E, but you know. Right, so there's A7 to A, and then E for your final thing, and then come around. D, A, E, oh sorry, right, there's loads of these things, right? Okay, we are heading towards the end there. Now, 6. You know, you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, a riff. Riff. D. Riff. A. Riff. D. A. Walk. E7. Cool. All right. So hopefully that's loads of stuff for you to be getting on with. We went from something pretty straightforward at the beginning, just thinking about that thing. Spoke about the form, what chords are involved. You can do stuff in the middle of the chord, A5, A6, A7, minor third, major third, underneath the chord. We spoke about palm muting, because it sounds cool, right? Dynamics. Chords. Turn around. And so there, you get quite a fully formed idea, right? Walks. Big ending. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks very much for watching. I really do appreciate it.